back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
I almost forgot the name of our video. The other day, I was making outbound calls for a wait list situation. The phone rang, and they picked up, and I said, "Thank you for calling it." I'm like, wait, no, I'm calling you. So I don't know what's going on.
It's like when Danny said to some customer,
Okay,
"Thanks, I love you, bye."
Yeah. So welcome back. Thanks for joining us for another week. Grab your favorite craft, grab your favorite drink, and sit back and relax and have a chat with us. I'm going to take a break, move this penguin so it won't be in Beth's face. We like to cover her up for part of the video. So this is the portion where we cover her up.
But he's got hair.
It's very cute. So we'll be right back with the penguin moved. All right. We didn't talk about who's going first, but I'm going to claim the first spot because I have very little to talk about.
Beth can go second.
Okay. So I did not do a lot of work on much of anything. I'm still waiting for the go-ahead from the committee to buy the yarn for the new sweater that I want to make. So, and that's fine. But, and I had a super busy week. So what I did was actually I worked a lot on this hat, and it looks like a baby hat because it's all over ribbing, but it really will stretch to fit a big old head if a big old head is needed. And I've moved from the circular needle that I was using into double points, and I have my markers here that are keeping track of the cables. So there's 1, 2, 4 cables, and then the rest is knit 2, purl 2 ribbing. So, and it's, like I said before, this is probably the wrong yarn to use for this pattern, but it's just a little bit of interest up close, and otherwise it's overall just the speckle. I think it's nice, and I think from afar it'll just be a black hat, and up close you can see the cables. The cables look real nice. I'll take an up close picture of it. But and it's long enough to have a folded brim. Here it is unfolded. So it's like about, before I started the decreases, it was 9.5 inches long. And that's long enough to fold that brim up twice. So so it has a nice folded brim. So there you go. And I'm very close to being done with this. Just working on the decrease rows while I watched Love is Blind this week at night. I stayed up really late last night working on this just because I needed to catch up on some of my shows. So this is necessity. All I've been working on. What, catching up on shows?
Yes.
Yes, because Rachel texted me, are you ready for the reunion of Love is Blind? I was like, no, I haven't finished it yet. So I had to finish it. Anyway, that's my guilty pleasure, is Love is Blind. But that's literally all I've worked on this week. So I'm going to keep working on the decreases on this. And I didn't know, I'm still behind on my temperature chart. Don't ask me. I'm behind. And it just is what it is. And yeah, we just came out of super busy season. We're about to finish. We have kind of a reprieve this weekend, but March is slammed with concerts and stuff. So I'm just kind of taking it one day at a time. As much as I can do is what I can do. So anyway, so that is me. And I think Beth's going to go next.
Yes, I'm going to go next. I'm just going to...
You said you're going to lend me a pencil. So
Yes.
I'm going to borrow this.
I'm going to put this thread here because I thought, oh great, I've got enough thread to finish this because I'm almost done with it. And then I made a mistake, and I like lost my mind about, I forgot what I was doing, and I tried to undo it, and I put the needle through the thread and destroyed the thread, and so I had to start over again.
That's what happened when I arrived. It was a disaster.
So I'm going to take this out of the hoop, even though I just now put it back in. I'm going to take it out for a second so I can see better. So this is the first half of the first goal of my WIP-GO thing, the Cottage Garden Samplings the ferret. And before I had finished the ferret and the cabin, and I had done like part of one of these big yellow flowers and nothing else. So I was working on the flowers and the little green frond things, and I might actually finish this. I didn't start it on Sunday, which was the 1st of March, because I was working on my February winter woods biscornu. I worked on it a little bit longer on Sunday because I wanted to finish what I was doing. So I started this basically on Monday, but I finished this when I did this flower to begin with. I did it wrong. I left a row out or something. So I corrected it when I did these little fronds here. I just added another row to this stem thing. And so I've finished the flower, and had these little, those little like plus signs, there's a bunch of them all around this ferret. So I did all of those, and I did the other thing, flower, and I thought, when I finished these flowers, I thought, oh good, I'm almost done. And I thought, no, there's a whole lot of this green stuff that goes on this side, so there's a lot. But I think I'm all done with the yellow now. So all that's left is the 2 green colors that make up these little frond things. And the other thing I realized as I was working on this was that, I made up this little border when I put them 3 together in 3s. So I made up this little border to go in around them and in between them. And for some of them, I just did like the first little thing of 4 stitches for the parts of the border that go in between the animals. But on this one, I wanted to start in this corner, this edge here with these cattails on the bear. So I did more of this border down the side, right? And I thought I had counted it right. And apparently I had not, or I made a mistake somewhere in here with the ferret, because then when I was working on this flower over here, one of these little, plus sign things over here was supposed to be like, I don't know, like 2 stitches or 3 stitches from the border. And it's because it's on right on the edge of the pattern, and so it was supposed to be space in between the border and the pattern, and it wasn't coming out right. Didn't look right. So I was looking down here, and where the border comes down here by the ferret, I think it's gonna bump right up against it. It was like I miscalculated somehow, but so I'm gonna have to fudge that and make it work somehow. But it's a minor thing. But otherwise, I'm almost done with this ferret. I just have more frond things, leaf things to do on this side, and then I will be done. And the middle of this flower here, the inside of the flower. So tomorrow, Sunday, is it'll be today for you guys, but Sunday is the 7th day, which is my goal. So if I don't finish it today, I should finish it on Sunday, I think. So that means another one of these patterns done. And of the 12 of them, if I finish the ferret, I think I figured I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This would be the 7th one of the 12, I think, something like that. So yeah, so they're coming along eventually. So I did delay, like I said, working on the ferret. Let me put this over here. By 1 day, because I was still working on the Winter Woods Biscornu. This is by the Blue Flower, and I wanted to finish doing the weasel here. This is upside down from how the pattern is supposed to go this way, but the weasel is up here. But I had when I went back, I had a few extra days at the end of February to work to fill in, so I started working on more of this, and And so I was working on this weasel, and I just thought I'm just gonna keep going till I finish it. So so I did. So the weasel is done now, except for whatever backstitching on his whiskers and mouth and stuff like that. But so all that's really left is this corner of the thing, and that's the top. And then I get to work on the bottom, which is like kind of mountains. The granite of the mountains, and then there's some snow on top and things like that. I think it uses like 3 shades to do the mountains. But hopefully that'll be less, so I'll be able to finish that in my lifetime sometime. It does not come up again on my WIP-GO chart this year, but we'll see. Someday I'll finish that. But what I did do yesterday was dyeing some fabric. Some people had requested a video showing my dyeing process or whatever, and there's lots of videos of lots of different styles of and processes of dyeing fabric, and so I recommend you looking at a few of them to get some different ideas and find out what works best for you. And it also depends on whether you're going to dye with RIT dye or using coffee or tea, that kind of thing, or any other substances. So that, like I said, there's lots of videos out there. Just put, dyeing cross-stitch fabric or something like that on the search, and you'll come up with all kinds of videos. But in the meantime, this is how I do it. And this video that we're going to include shows how.
Yeah, it'll be after
attached to the end of
this video. There'll be the dyeing video.
Yeah. So the 3 fabrics that I dyed were these are all. This one was from Hobby Lobby. I got some time ago. It's just 28 count even weave, and these 2 I got at Michael's yesterday. So one was 28 count Monaco, and the other is 28 count linen. So, and these are DMC, Child's Craft, whatever, and this one is the Artiste brand. So I'm going to start with a smaller one first. This is the even weave. And this one, it came out this way. I used mainly aquamarine, and then I just did a little bit of darker evening blue, I think, RIT dyes for this one. And you'll be pleased to know I took the time to iron these. They came out a little bit like, as my mom says, like chewing gum. Just watered up, especially this one. This is the 28 count linen, and this one it was sort of a natural color, like a brownish color, and I dyed it with wine and I don't know if it was aquamarine or evening blue that I poured on top of it.
Actual wine or wine color?
Wine color. A little bit on the darker side, but it's would be really good for lighter colored threads, whites, yellows, light greens, things like that. But that one's 28 count linen. And like I said, I started with kind of this brownish, natural base, and so that's how it came out. And I used a smaller container too, so it's very watered up. And this one is 28 count Monaco, and I dyed with this evening blue color, and then I added little splashes of this wine color on top, and it sort of made it purplish. It's kind of a lilac purple. And there's a little bit of white in there because of how it was folded up.
Not white, but lighter.
Lighter. Well,
oh, that's the white one.
Right here is white, yeah. So there's some darker colors on it as well. So yeah. So I was just playing around. I don't have anything specific
I was going to
that I was.
ask you if you have those planned for something.
No, I didn't have any specific ideas. I was just goofing around with with the dye. Oh, and I found those squirt bottles in my room, of course, buried under stuff. I had at one point bought, I think I just bought 2 of them, little squirt bottles like you would put ketchup or something in, little condiments. And I bought them.
And you couldn't find them?
Because I had seen somebody use them in dyeing fabrics, and I thought, well, that's a good idea. They had a whole bunch of squirt bottles. This woman had a whole bunch of squirt bottles that were left over from like tie-dye kits that her kids had used, and she used them to squirt dye on fabrics. And I thought that's a good idea, because again, like this Monaco that I used, if I had just stuck it in the evening blue main color, then I could have just like squirted little lines or tiny splotches or whatever with another color as I chose. In this case, I just kind of like poured it from the bottle a little bit, so it's a little bit less controllable. But whatever works, whatever you want to do. Some people use like a little spoon and spoon it on there, or whatever. So. But yeah, so the video that we made yesterday is going to be attached at the end of this. And the other thing is that I'm thinking about another design that uses this. This is a poem. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I went and looked it up because a long time ago, I don't know where I came across it first, if it was an existing pattern or I came across it some other way, but it's a poem called "My Love and My Heart" by this guy Henry S. Lee, and it's currently, if you look it up online, it comes up on the what's it called when something's out of copyright? It's
Public domain?
Public domain. It's called Public Domain Poetry, I think is the name of the site. But the poem is apparently about like somebody with their, I don't know if it's supposed to be their girlfriend or something, because he says something about like below her dainty mitten I would fix a wedding ring. He talks about that, but apparently she rejected him, I guess, or something. But anyway, the last few lines of it sound more like a pet, right? We are scratched or we are bitten by the pets to whom we cling. Oh, my love, she is a kitten, and my heart's a ball of string. Mm-hmm. So I have a vision in mind of what I want to put this on, but yeah, it's a fun little poem. And like I said, I came across it somewhere, like many.
I saw it
many
years ago on a calendar, a cat calendar.
Maybe that's where I saw it.
And it just was that line, my love, she is a kitten, and my heart's a ball of string. And it was a picture of a kitten playing with a yarn ball. Uh-huh. And I've always loved that. And I probably told you about it. I didn't know that it was part of a full poem.
Yeah, I think I might have seen it because in my little graph paper sketching, all the stuff I had from back when I lived in Little Rock, I had sketched out a design for that with that line of the poem and a cat and a ball of string. And I don't know if I copied it from somewhere or if I
no, it was like I said, it was a photograph with that. It was in a cat calendar, and I probably still have it saved somewhere.
So anyway, that's kind of what I'm thinking about working on. But it takes a long time for my brain to come up with the But anyway, that's my thing.
That's you? All right.
I think that's me.
So I'm again working on Murder in the Garden. I normally work on this on Tuesdays when I'm with Beth to take Beth to orchestra, and I had it all ready to go, and I left it here.
Yeah.
And I had an ebook on my phone, but I thought it was audiobook. And I didn't want to listen to an audiobook if I wasn't stitching. I could have, but and so I could have read. No, I could have done this. No, I forget it. It was a bust.
She was very sad at rehearsal.
I was. So I dyed fabric, but I dyed fabric like on the 1st or 2nd because I wanted to dye fabric for this, which is one of my new starts for WIP-GO. This is called Beef Amazing by Cross Stitching for Fun or Sunflower Cross Stitch on Etsy. They still call themselves Cross Stitching for Fun, but on Etsy their shop is Sunflower Cross Stitch. So I dyed this, and then I started a flamingo
It's cute as
because
heck.
I am flamazing. I started it one day, but I really didn't have very much time that day to work on it. I think it was something going on with the house, I don't know. And I was like, I want to work on that. And so I didn't work on what I was supposed to work on, and I don't care. And then I dyed a piece of fabric for this. This is Cross Stitching for Fun again, Art Deco Winter, which is one of my WIP-GO new starts. And here it is.
Move your soda here because your fabric is touching that
And birdies.
thing.
I love those birdies.
I
That's
think this
pretty.
is I think the white will show up fine, and yet the colors I think will show up as well. So I was like, it's a fine line and I don't want to cross it, get it too dark.
Yeah, because you want these birds to show up well. I think this will color well, for sure.
So
Yeah.
there's that. And then what I was supposed to do 5 days on with WIP-GO was this free chart, which is called Cat Trio, and it is by somebody, Doreen Jones.
Oh,
And I had this, I downloaded this free, I download free charts a lot. As a matter of fact, I downloaded 2 free charts just recently. I don't remember what they were, but they were off of Maria's site, Cute Patterns by Maria, so they were cute. But this is as far as I got. I actually got further, but there was a counting mistake, and I was gonna fudge it, but I thought, no, I'll just take it out and do it right. So I need to do one more day on this.
That's cool.
But
That's cool colors.
and I haven't even started the other color set yet, the blue color set. But one of these blues is actually gray. So there's that. The colors they're not exactly like the picture. And then on Crazy Stitch We Do Geek, I finished the Mockingjay symbol, and then I started doing the back stitch on. I had to spend some time fixing the little tail here that got untucked, and then I've been back stitching around the Enterprise.
Oh, that's cool.
Looks better, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm using that same gold thread. I thought I would use Treasure Braid, but with one thread it works very well. I should have done the Mockingjay with only one thread. And we've had crazy weather. This is Temperature Pets by Jace Breeze or JC Breeze. I don't know how it's pronounced. And I am doing the dogs and cats. So I had to start a dog. And this is on fabric that I dyed myself, and it's an opalescent fabric. And you see that it was hot at the end of February, hot, 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 not as hot, cold. And apparently it's supposed to go right back up today. It's supposed to be near 80 today. Now, my floss tube frenzy, I didn't show it last week, and I decided to show it the second week of the month instead of the first, because of the first of the month we do WIP-GO and all that. So you'd think I'd be further along in these things, working on them at least once a week, but it is only for half an hour at the most, or 2 threads if I have smaller threads. I tend to have longer threads. So the first one would be, and I worked on this today until a good night. I would have worked on it more, except my eyes kept closing. This is where I am. So I got in the windows, well, not the white part of the windows, and I'm working on the teal. And then I admittedly do not work on this for very long. This is Tiny Modernist Cute Crocodile. Frank's videos are maybe 10 minutes. So I work on it at least that long, but I try to work on it for half an hour. And this is where I am. So he has his other leg.
It's adorable. It's
And
going to be really
the
cute.
white doesn't show up like with a camera. You're not going to see the white. In person, you can almost see the white. But I'm going to leave it white and let it be, because I'm not going to worry about it, because all the other stuff going on in it, it doesn't matter. So, because I need to use the white on the teeth. Teeth need to be white. This is another project that I work on Tuesdays, and this is what is this?
Here in my garden.
There's a Hare in My Garden by Hands On Design. And yes, I ordered the new one.
What's the new one?
It's Goose on the Loose,
Oh.
and it's a carrot, and the geese have little boots on.
Cute.
It's adorable. And I saw Mr. HOD carrying the sample, and I'm like, that thing is huge.
I saw I think they did a video and it says something like, what is it? Something or other in carrot on. Do something in carrot on.
No.
Anyway, I
giant
had
carrot.
realized after working most of the way through the third bunny that there was a serious problem with my bunnies. And I was going to try to fudge it, and I kept going, and I said no, because I'll run into the stuff below. And I said, no, I'll just frog it and do it right. So I am almost back to where I was before I started frogging. Now they're above the greenhouse. So I work on that when Helen D posts a video. And when the Runner Stitcher posts a video, I work on Silent Night. This is by Stitching with the Housewives. And I am almost done with an end. So,
Wow.
now it just looks like light.
Silent light.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it where more of the blue in the snowflakes is needed, so that I can finish this little snowflake up here that's got a white center. But I work on it at least. He posts once a week, so at least once a week I pull it out. And then Stitching with Housewives didn't post a video because of Market not posting one this week. I don't know. This is Erica Michaels' Americana Blues, which I added white to. And I've got the July 4, and I've gotten, some of the long, and I'm like, how do I want to change this? Do I want to change this to indicate 2026? I have some ideas, and I have to find some way to sketch it out. And then I have crochet. I do not have as many granny squares because they're getting harder and harder every time. Now, this is the last one that was anywhere remotely easy. And then this one took me 3 days to do right. I at one point I just cut it off and started over because I was like, I keep doing that wrong. And I didn't feel like frogging it. And then this one is another one where it feels really tiny.
That's pretty.
Yeah. Theoretically, these are all the same size. So I thought I might take a couple of days and just block them to get them all to 5 inches. Because like this one looks huge.
Yeah, that's cute.
Daisies. Another one is coming up that's 4 like this, and I'm like, I hated this. And it doesn't feel the same size as the others. It feels the same size as the hearts, but not as the others. And then here's a picture of the bag I originally saw on Facebook that I didn't feel like paying $8 for. And I was like, oh, well, you know. And then because I watch crochet floss tube, I mean, yeah. One popped up in my, you know, because I've done the mesh bags and all that. One popped up and it was a granny square bag. It looks a lot like the one the one I saw on Facebook. It's like, here's a really bad picture of that because it wouldn't let me take a picture from the video. And the person that did it, apparently she did it 4 years ago. So this is my start on that. So it's going to take
That's
3
Yeah.
giant things, and they're put like this and then put together to make a big bag. So let me see if I can. I have the picture of the original bag, which is beautiful, and does not. It looks. It's similar to the. It's similar to the bag that I'm doing, but not the same. And that one, they're posting it all over the place now, and she posted her video 4 days ago. So, well, here it is.
Oh, that's cute.
Now, hers is this.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Same
So
concept.
it's similar. And it's same idea, but she's like, use your scraps of fabric. That's what this is for.
Yeah.
Use your scraps of fabric. So hers isn't go out and buy, you know, particular colors to do it. And that's the whole idea of
Use your
my
own
wanting to
scraps,
do
yeah.
these is to use, and some of these, it's not even scraps. It's basically I have whole skeins of it.
Right.
And could I do another project with it? Sure. But, am I gonna? You know? Whereas this way I have a project that I can use it on.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
then I bought fabric when Beth bought fabric yesterday. I bought some 28 count even weave. And I bought a giant thing of 16 count. I thought it was 14. 16 count. It doesn't matter if it's 16 or 14. Those I plan to dye to look like I plan to, for any of the projects that I bought
From market?
from market, to get fabric dyed and ready for when they come in. I have more big fabric like this. I don't know, that carrot is gigantic, so I'm not sure if it's big enough, but I'm excited to see. And one of the ones that I ordered, I kept going back to it and going no, and then I didn't, and then I go back to it and go, oh, it's so beautiful, and I know
Is it that moon, that raven?
that
one?
raven is so beautiful, and I'll show it when it comes in. But
I was saying, if you hadn't bought it, I think I probably would have.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
it's stunning. Now I got the under the sea chart that she did too. She uses a lot of specialty stitches, and this uses a lot of specialty stitches, but it is just so gorgeous. And I was like, I don't know if any of these will be the proper type of fabric for that, so I'm talking about the smaller ones. Anyway, that's me.
All right. So normally we would have a question of the week. Let me reiterate the first. At the end of our normal video will be the video that Eve and Beth made about dyeing fabric. So if you're interested in that, it will be after this. Instead of question of the week, we're going to have giveaway of the week. We have two of these. You'll see a close-up picture. Daisy May. It's an adorable pattern with this beautiful black bunny in a dress and a white.
Stitching with the housewives.
Yeah, by Stitching with the Housewives. We have 2 copies, so we want to give away 2. If you would like to comment using the word Daisy in your sentence, you will be entered for a drawing, and we will draw it, next week?
Let's give it 2 weeks.
2 weeks, okay. So in 2 weeks, we'll draw a name from anyone who comments either this week or next week, and then we will draw names.
And I can also put a picture of the finish I had on mine,
Yeah.
so you can see.
So you can see kind of how Eve finished hers. So we have 2 copies. We're giving away 2 copies just for fun, just because it's spring.
Yeah.
So go ahead and comment if you're interested in getting one of the copies of the Daisy May pattern. So the reason I'm in this get-up, as we move to stories, yesterday, I think I talked about it a lot. Yesterday, our boss took us all, there was 10 of us, well, really 9 went, but to a spring training baseball game. And it was a lot of fun. We got to sit right behind home plate. We lost, Arizona Diamondbacks lost miserably to the
Is that a
Chicago White
surprise?
Sox. No. Well, you never know. But it was 6-0. Anyway, but it was fun to be out, and the weather was actually really nice. It was, the sun was hot,
It's kinda windy
but
yesterday,
it got
but-
windy, and I wore my hoodie for most of the game. But I bought a new shirt for the game. It's a Diamondbacks shirt, but it says Serpientes because that's one of the names that we call them, the serpents, right? The Diamondback snakes. And then, okay, I was not going to buy a hat. I was going to wear a hat, my Desert Botanical Gardens hat that I got. And I'm driving, I'm already like 45 minutes from home, and I'm like,
You forgot your hat?
I called Mark, is my hat on the dining table? He said yes. So I was like, can I buy a hat at the game? So I did. I got this. I got this purple, and it says spring training right here.
Oh, yeah.
So that's my souvenir.
This is
And-
this is the time of baseball games everywhere.
Yeah. So for those of you who aren't familiar with what spring training is, the baseball leagues split up into 2 small leagues. Ours is called the Cactus League. I don't know what it's called in Florida. Do you know? But they go to Florida and they come here because it's warm. And there's little stadiums all throughout the valley, and they play each other in the Cactus League. And so you get to go and see the Diamondbacks and the Cubs and the White Sox and the
I think
Rockies.
there's 3 in Scottsdale and 2 in Tempe.
Yeah, and
they're
Mesa
everywhere.
has them. I assume
Mesa has some.
there's one in Phoenix near the zoo.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just small, kind of. The two. I know of 2 in Scottsdale, but the older one is where our farm team used to play. So it's a little ballpark, and it's so cute because, you have the regular seats, but then they sell tickets to the lawn out past the outfield. And so you just get a blanket, you just lay down, you have a picnic, you do whatever you
And people
like
come
that.
from all over.
And it was very full actually yesterday.
Yeah,
It was
people
really
come from
nice.
all
People
over.
come from all over the country to
I
watch
had
their
a
teams
blast
play.
when I was doing Uber and driving a lot of drunks. But they were being responsible.
Right, exactly. So
And I was like driving them to the airport going, you're never getting on an airplane.
But so it was. I think I told the story of how this all came to happen. I walked into my boss's office and said, "I forgot to check when I was hired. We have a spring training day, right? Where we get to go sit on the lawn." I'm glad he didn't buy lawn seats because the lawn seats were in the sun the entire game, and it would have been miserable. But we were in nice seats right behind home plate, and we just. We kind of caravan down there and parked and walked in and went in together, and
That was
it
so
real
much
nice.
fun for you guys. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a great outing
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
after such a
And,
stressful
yeah,
month.
we had a stressful week of orchestra week the last week of February, so it was really fun to just turn off the phones and close the office and leave and just I don't know, it was really good. So we had fun and it was good.
I've been
It
to
was
like
really good.
3 baseball games, I think, in my life. The professional baseball game. Once I went with Mona once to
And the Reds,
to
Cincinnati Reds.
when we were in Florida to see the Cubs and the Marlins. I think
Oh, yeah.
I guess. And then in Little Rock, the Arkansas Travelers are the local team there. And I went once with Mona.
Well, she
Maybe
likes
I
baseball.
went 3 times because I think I went once with Mona. Oh, I know I went once with my friend Kim.
Yeah.
So in the old stadium, which was like it's right by the freeway. So every once in a while, on the freeway you'd see baseballs, because they have a big fence or whatever.
yeah.
But every once in a while,
Yoinks.
And but then that was the old stadium, and they I guess they tore it down and built a new stadium over by the river on the other side. And I think the symphony, I think we had like an outing like that in one year, because I know we had like seats way out on the bleachers on one end or something.
Well, so and so we do have the large Diamondbacks field here, but they don't use it for spring training because it's not a big enough crowd. There's little crowds. And what's nice is like there's a real organist and it's little crowds.
Yeah.
And it's pretty relaxed games. They're not like one of my colleagues is from South Africa. She'd never been to a baseball game before in her life. And she watched cricket, and she would tell us about cricket games that last like all day long and like all this kind of stuff. But so I was explaining a lot of the rules, and granted, I don't know all the rules, but I was explaining like kind of what was happening, and she just couldn't get over how they would hit the ball and they'd get a hit. Maybe it would go out into the outfield. It wasn't a pop up or anything, and the guys would pick it up and throw it to first, and so the batter's running to first, and she's like, run faster. Like, she'd be like, why aren't they running? And I'm like, they are. They're just not,
So I
such
had,
track and field.
in college, I had one of the worst experiences of my life at a baseball game. Just because I didn't want to be there.
Oh, no.
And the chaperone leader of our band that took us up there, we were supposed to go for marching band competition, and he decided that we were going to a Texas Rangers game.
Yeah.
I think it was Texas Rangers. I don't know. It was 110. And I mean, I don't know, but it was really hot. And we were out in the full sun, up in the nosebleed seats. And you couldn't even see the players down there. They were little ants on the field, you know. And nobody was scoring anything, so it was boring. And we were supposed to go to the amusement park.
Oh no.
And he decided we were going to go there, and then a whole bunch of us, the amusement park was in walking distance, I think. We went, we're leaving. And then he didn't tell anybody to take money, and he told us to go, and then he took us to Baby Doe's Matchless Mind for dinner, and every entree was like, you know, $20 or something. Nobody had any money. These are college students.
Yeah.
I had money. I ended up having to spend my money to share with somebody else.
Oh no. That sounds like a poorly planned trip.
Yes, well, he planned it. He planned it for himself.
Yeah.
Well, I like baseball. I know it can be slow.
You and I went to one with the kids.
Yeah.
The spring training game.
Mm-hmm.
That
Sit
was
out in the
fun.
lawn. Yeah.
That was fun. And then I went with Mona to a Cincinnati Reds game. Again, it was down in the bottom she had
Good
season seats.
Uh-huh.
But it was so hot. By mid-game, I was like, I cannot be here any longer. It is too hot. And she's like, yeah, it's hot. Let's go. But that's how hot it was. Mona was like, yeah, let's go. Yeah, I stayed, I think, through 7 innings, but it was just...
Oh, it was so funny because, you know, the 7-inning stretch, for those of you not in the United States, so each inning is, quiet dogs. Each inning is, one team gets to bat, and that's the top half of the inning, and then the bottom of the inning is the other team gets to bat. So it alternates like that. And traditionally in the 7th inning, the first team bats, and then in between the top and the bottom, they call it the 7th inning stretch. And everybody stands up, and traditionally, most ballparks, they play Take Me Out to the Ball Game.
Out to the ball game, and everybody sings.
And but like it's different in different places. Mark said that in Baltimore they would play. What did he tell me last night? He goes, I don't know if they still do, but they would play a different song.
No, Sweet Caroline.
No, Boston. In Boston, they play at Fenway Park. They play Sweet Caroline.
Yeah.
But. What? Oh, he said it was Thank God I'm a Country Boy.
Oh.
In Baltimore. But so that was traditionally their 7th inning stretch song. But it was so funny because 7th inning stretch, and I had told my friend, I was like, yeah, so between the two halves of the 7th inning, everyone's going to stand up and sing.
Uh-huh.
And so we all stood up and we were all, singing, and she was like, how do you, because like there's a bunch of us that are older, and then there's a whole group of our colleagues that are young, like in their 20s, and she was like, how do you all know the words? How do you know all the words? And we were like, I don't know. Maybe like I think
Cultural-
sometimes in
cultural
school,
history.
yeah. And I think sometimes in school you sing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like one of those things that like it's in the fabric.
Yeah.
It's cultural history.
Yeah, yeah. And so, or like if one person's been to a baseball game, they experience it, and then they go with a friend, and then that person experiences it, and so over the course of your lifetime, you're exposed to Take Me Out to the Ball Game. But
and in movies and stuff.
Oh
too.
yeah.
I remember when
So it's a lot of fun.
I went with Mona, our friend Mona from college. I went with her to the game in I think it was the one in Miami in Florida. But she sings it like root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame, right?
Right.
She says, if they don't win, it's the same.
It was funny.
Yeah.
But so it was a lot of fun to kind of expose my friend to that, you
Yeah.
know, like for the first time in the cute little ball game.
Yeah, that's fun.
She kept saying, "What does that umpire signal mean? What does that mean? Did he make it to the base? I can't tell. Did he make it?" And then she was like, "Who's that other guy standing there by first base?" I said, "That's the first base coach." She's like, "Oh my gosh, they get a whole coach for the first base?" I'm like, "What are they telling him to run or not?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's okay." I said, "I don't know why, but that's what he does." It was great. Baseball for beginners. So it was a lot of fun. We had fun. The dogs are
They're wild.
Hustling.
making noise. But we're going to tack that dying video onto the end of this. And
Yes.
so we're going to go so this video isn't horribly long. Thanks for hanging out with us again. The dogs are telling us that it's time to go.
Oh,
Come here.
I was going to share my
Oh.
wretched McFlurry story.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I was going to tell my wretched McFlurry story. So Eve and I went to rehearsal. I went to rehearsal Tuesday night, and on the way home, I was tired, I was hungry, I was thirsty, or whatever.
We stopped at a McDonald's we never stop at.
Yeah, it was just one along the way, and so we thought, okay, we'll get sodas, and then just on an impulse,
Just barely after 10.
yeah, and on an impulse, and so they close at 12, right? So and
So
it was,
theoretically.
yeah, theoretically, and so we stopped to get sodas, and then on an impulse, kind of, I said, you know what, I want a McFlurry also, and so the guy kind of like, okay, and I think we were asking if they had like Shamrock McFlurries or something, just to double check, and he said yeah, and so we ordered and we went around to the window, and I guess we had already paid, and then we went to the order window to pick up something like that.
I didn't get anything. You just.
But yeah, but we were there forever and forever and forever. And I thought, how long does it take to make 2 sodas and a McFlurry?
One soda and a McFlurry even.
Oh, did you not get one? Oh, I don't know. But anyway, so we were sitting there, and then finally the guy. Oh no, there were 2 guys there talking. You said you're talking to a girl or something.
There was the manager because he was wearing a tie, and another employee chatting up some girl at the counter. Okay, and our guy was not anywhere around.
Milking the cow, I guess, or something, because it was taking forever. And I'm like, how long does it take? You stick the. So anyway, so we were sitting there, and finally he comes to the window, and he had a McFlurry that looked like, they have those little cardboard cups instead of the plastic cups. Those little cardboard cups with the fold down flaps and everything. But so it looked like almost, like half empty or something. And he said something about that
That they only put so much in there. I
they
forgot that
said-
they put air in there when
they
they're
said
stirring it.
they said something. He said something about how their machine, they couldn't mix it because their machine was already being cleaned or something like that, and so he, like, I guess he had put all the toppings in there and then like couldn't stir it or something because and so he was kind of like,
Just don't give it to me. Give me my
I'm
money
thinking,
back.
why did you sell it to me?
Exactly.
I wanted to say, the lights are on. Are you guys open?
Yeah.
Because they got in a lot of trouble for this kind of shenanigans before.
Yeah.
Breaking stuff down early. And that manager was doing nothing. I mean, okay, you're dead. That doesn't mean you get to take apart stuff early. If your lights are on, everything should be available, or your menu board should say it's not available.
Yeah, so so I went ahead and took it because A, I had already paid for it, and B, he had already put all the stuff in there. It was just like not mixed, and so I got home and just stirred it up, but like it was just like, what is the point? What is It's like, I remember one time we went out for my brother's birthday many years ago in Albuquerque, and he had a gig or something. He had something he had to do before we went out, so we went out kind of late. and the particular restaurant that we went to, they were supposed to be open until a certain time, and we got there like maybe half an hour before or whatever. And so when we were trying to order, they were saying, "Well, we already turned the grill off." And my brother's like, "Are you still open or not?"
Yeah.
You know. And so
they were mad because they had to turn the grill back on.
yeah, so we finally ordered stuff, but while we were eating, they were there vacuuming the carpet and the headlock. You know, it was like this was like the most annoying experience I'd ever had at a restaurant. It was like, why, you know, why are you vacuuming the carpet when there are customers sitting at the table?
Right.
You know.
Oh my
No,
gosh.
it's like the Wendy's that by my office that I used to go to.
Yeah.
And I would always tell myself, I'm never coming here again. I'm
And then
never
you
coming
would
here
go.
again. But I would always go because it was close to my
Talking
office.
about weird ice cream one time, and I never figured out what happened. I never went back, but I was with somebody at this urgent care, and I don't know where you used to live, and there's a Sonic right next door, and I was waiting there forever, so I just walked over to the Sonic and bought an ice cream cone, and I was eating it, and it had like, it was like, the only way I can describe it is like little small like chunks of like fat or like like not like it wasn't mixed right, and I was like, what is this? This is not ice cream. It's awful. Oh my gosh. Well, we hope you guys are having a good
On that
week.
happy note.
On that happy note. We hope you guys are having a good week, and I am 1, 2, 3, 4 rows away from finishing this hat. Stay tuned for our fabric dyeing video. I haven't seen it. I hope it's good. I don't know. I didn't make it.
I forgot to put the mic on,
Oh, there you go.
but
It'll
I
be
checked it, and it was okay.
It'll be good. It'll be good.
I was standing close to it.
Yeah. So hang around for that. Don't forget to enter if you would like to win a Daisy May pattern. And we will see you next week. Thanks so much for hanging. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so I'm going to try to do a dyeing tutorial of sorts. And for the purposes of this, we've just chosen some colors. And I don't have a specific project in mind so much, so I'm just going to do a little bit of goofing around dyeing. But I decided to do a few different fabrics. So this is 28 count even weave. It's just a generic, I don't know what, from Hobby Lobby. And this is a DMC 28 count linen, which is a sort of a natural color. And then this is 28 count Monaco. And so they'll each probably take the dye a little differently, but you know, we'll see. And over here I have a few different containers. I have a little Talenti jar. I have a butter dish, and I have a plastic shoebox. And so the different sizes are like, you know, different concentrations of wadding up the fabrics. That's the way I dye fabric. So I'm going to go and rinse these with water to help them, A, take the dye a little better, and B, get whatever sizing might be in them, especially this Monaco is very stiff. Help get that out of there. So I'll be back in a minute then.
Do you use hot water?
Yes, hot water to rinse whatever out of them. So, okay. So I have some water in these containers, and just however much you want to put in, just depends on what you want to dye.
Hot water.
Yes, this is hot water. It doesn't have to necessarily be boiling hot. You know, I used to do stuff on the stove, you know, heat water on the stove, and with a little bit of experimentation, I realized you don't really need to do that. It's just hot water from the tap, and you know, sometimes as hot as you can stand it. Sometimes it didn't really even need to be that hot. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dye the Monaco in here, and the linen in here, and the even weave in here, just because of their size, and that gives me a little bit more room to play with. And the colors I'm using today, I'm going to use wine and aquamarine and evening blue. And I don't have any real specific plan. I'm just going to make it up as I go along. I am wearing, and you can't see this because I'm off camera, but I am wearing what I call my dyeing t-shirt, which is a wobbly old, you know, t-shirt that I don't mind if I get dye on it. Because whatever you do, you're gonna get dye on it. 99% of the time you might not, but chances are you will. It's that 1% where you think, oh, I'm not gonna get anything myself, and you end up doing it. I'm wearing also gloves. These are just disposable, what do you call it? Gloves, like, surgical gloves or whatever. Exam gloves, as they're called in the box. And again, it's because you don't want to be wearing dye, and like I have my watch off and things like that. So I also have some just plastic knives here just for stirring colors together. So I think what I'm going to do is, first of all, just use the evening blue in this. It's one of my favorite colors. But also these bottles, they're liable to get little flakes of dye on them as they dry. Oopsie. So you kind of have to be careful of that because you might end up with little blops of color here and there. Shake the bottle really well before you pour it in here. And like I said, I have these plastic knives, and I'm going to stir that up just to sort of evenly spread the color around. And then I think I'm going to use the aquamarine in this butter dish as the primary color. And it's just a slightly different shade of blue. When you first look at them, they kind of look the same. And of course, this just gives you a different concentration on the fabric of, dye to fabric ratio. And then I'm going to pour a little bit of this wine color in this little jar.
And I noticed that you're not pouring tons of dye in there. Why not?
No, just a little bit, because for one thing, I don't really know what kind of color I'm going to get out of them, whether it's dark or light, whatever. And I can always add more if I want it darker, and I cannot add less to make it lighter. So it gives me a little bit of a base to start with, and then I can just dibble and dribble, color on the fabric as I decide to do it. So in this big container, I'm gonna put the Monaco, because it is it's pretty large, and it's a little on the stiff side. And so anyway, I scrunch up my fabric and put it in here scrunched up. So as it's scrunched, so I'm just, squishing this down a little bit, and you'll see it's, it's lighter where the fabric is not quite in the dye. And it may turn out that, that where it is in the dye, it's on the light side too, because I didn't put a whole lot in there, so we'll see how that goes. And then in this aquamarine, I think I'm gonna put actually this even weave in there, because it's also white. And yeah, and then the linen, because of the color it is and all that, I'm just gonna squish it into this wine color, just for fun. Give me a paper towel, please. Yeah, I'm being a little careless about, getting colors mixed with each other, so I don't want to, see there's a, from the tabletop and from my fingers, a little bit of, I see a flake right here. It came off of one of these bottles. So, I'm poking this fabric down into the dye a little bit, and as it's poked down, it'll change the concentration of the color on the fabric. So what I'm going to do now is, I think I'm just going to splash a little bit of this wine color. Onto here. Oops. Whatever. Okay. Looks a little brownish, but I'm hoping it will. And then turning it around, mixing it up a little bit, whatever. We'll see how that turns out. I'm gonna let it sit in there a little longer because it looks light to me just looking at it, and then when I rinse it, it'll it'll lose a lot of that color. So even though the dye itself looks dark in the bin, on the fabric it's a little bit lighter shade. So, and this, I didn't put a whole lot of this wine color in there. So, but it's going to darken the blue a little bit, and where it's on the fabric, where it's touching the fabric, you'll have blotches of this wine color. And I don't know where they'll be on the fabric once I, take it out and rinse it off. Give me a paper towel, please. And now in the aquamarine, I think I'm gonna put a little bit of this evening blue. Do I want to put? Just a little bit. Get a larger piece of paper towel, please. Okay, and on the wine color, I think I'm going to add a little bit of this aquamarine, just for fun. I'm going to swirl it around a little bit. And you can experiment with different sizes of containers and all that to change the concentration of your dyes. Dye to fabric ratio, if you will.
What you can't see is she's cleaning the tops of the...
Yeah, you want to clean them. I didn't quite clean them as well as I could have, but that way...
Hold on a second. Okay.
This jar is pretty tight for this amount of fabric, and I don't know that it's gonna work that well because it's a natural brownish color, and I've thrown some aquamarine in there with the rose, and so that's an experiment. But I think I'm gonna put a little bit more of this evening blue in there, just to make it a little bit on the darker side. I saw one video where the one that was working on it, she pours her dye like through a paper towel into like a kind of like a funnel made out of just a soda bottle, and because it filters out all the little crumbs from the bottle, and that helps so you don't get these sort of blotches of color on your fabrics.
I like the blotches of color.
well, I mean, so you don't get chips, you know, of color on your fabric if you don't want, you know, those specific concentrations. So I think I'm going to go ahead and rinse these out now. So first of all, you want to make sure that your sink area that you're using is as clean as possible. You don't want to get, you know, food crud on your fabric and all that. So you want to make sure your sink is clean. And also now I'm going to go and rinse these out until they, I'm going to dump out the dye in the sink. And then as I rinse the fabric, I'm going to rinse until the fabric, you know, the water runs clear so that all the dye is gone. So I'm going to go do that and we'll see what everything looks like afterward. Okay, so first up, this is the 28 count Monaco. You know, like I said, you can tell it's a little stiffer, but so it came out a little bit more purpley than I was thinking, but that's fine. There's blotches of blue and this wine color, and the general purple shade is because of the blue and the red mixed together. So we'll have another
Spread it out over that.
shot of that when it's
Spread it out.
when it's dry. So you can see there's bits of blue and purple. There's a little bit of white right here where it was, you know, folded up, but that's all right. And then next up, let's put this over here on the other side. Next up is the 28 count even weave, and this has a little bit of a white blotch there too, but this one came out I think really nice. It's also, this is the aquamarine with a little bit of blue splotching pressed over it.
And what was the lighter one with a little bit of aquamarine?
This is aquamarine plus a little bit of blue, dark blue. No, this was dark blue. This was the aquamarine. And then this one is very dark, but I kind of like it. This was the 28 count linen, which was sort of a natural color to begin with. And so this one I put in wine, was the primary color, a wine red, and then I splotched some blue over it. So it came out very dark, but very nice. I thought really nice. So
I can't see it. Spread it out.
can't, there.
It's so beautiful.
So it looks a little on the brown side, but that's, I think, because of the base color underneath it. So anyway, so now we're going to dry these, and we're going to do it the lazy way in the dryer. So these are just the unironed, fresh out of the dryer results of our fabric dyeing. So this is the 28 count linen, which is the sort of thinnest, lightest fabric. So I think it's why it held the wrinkles a little better, a little more. Looks like chewing gum. But as you can tell, this is the one I used wine color as the primary, and then I threw some blue in there, whatever. So it came out, it's dark, but it's not horribly dark. And I think it'll work really well for some like nighttime pictures or even the, I was thinking a lot about the under the sea Nashville, Stitch the Rainbow kind of patterns that we had this year. So this may or may not work. It just depends on what color you use with it. But it's very blue in this area and very wine colored in this area. So how you choose to use it. But at least that like the lighter colors like whites and things like that will really really stand out on that fabric. So that's one possibility. And so this then is the 28 count even weave. It's a little bit smaller piece, but this was primarily, I want to say aquamarine, with some other colors, so you can see there's a very nice modeling, darker and lighter blues, a little bit of whitish, where it was, you know, scrunched up. That came out very nice. I like that a lot. And then this is the 28 count Monaco. And I used primarily a blue color, but I poured a little of the wine color in there. So it really picked up, it really turned kind of a light purple, almost lilac-y color, which I really like. But it's got some, you know, darker blue splotches, a little bit of white here and there, where, it, like I said, where it was folded up. But, and then this side is a little bit, you have a little bit darker blotches of that wine color. So yeah, I really like that too. And again, I think you could use it very nicely on that under the sea kind of patterns, depending on the concentration on them, whatever. So yeah, so that's my technique. You know, you can use as much or as little water in the dye bath container that you want. You can use a larger or smaller containers, and all that will determine the concentration of the color and how it comes out. So yeah, hopefully, you know, once we get all these ironed, you'll get a better view of what the fabric looks like. But there you go. So if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments, and good luck. Thanks.